This is We Told You So, and we are episode 76.
Man, this room has surprisingly good acoustics. This episode is actually an all-encompassing, comprehensive lesson. Because the We Told You So series is not just about being petty. It's also about teaching the MAGA and the people on the right that their conspiracies over the years, all of the things that they have suspected about Democrats and people like Biden, have been totally wrong. And the things that we have been saying have been right. And they probably should have started listening to us a long time ago. For example, during Trump's first administration, we said that he was going to end up taking away Roe v. Wade. And even though that official act by the Supreme Court was done during Biden's presidency, it was done because of the 3 conservative Supreme Court justices that Trump installed. We warned people it was going to happen, and we were right. We also warned that Donald Trump was a career criminal and a con man, and was going to use the presidency to enrich himself. He was then discovered later to have received millions of dollars from foreign governments like China during his time as president. He also recently loaned his brand out to Saudi Arabia for several projects worth billions of dollars. We said that he wasn't going to care about the American people, which was evident by the fact that he gassed and beat peaceful protesters in the street so that he could go to a church across the street and hold up a Bible. He also didn't care about COVID when it happened and allowed hundreds of thousands of people to die. He also very rarely attended his morning briefings, didn't pay attention to them, and spent a third of his presidency golfing. Meanwhile, so many people on the right, including his cult members, think that he's the greatest president in history. He passed absolutely no key pieces of positive legislation for the American people. His key accomplishment was his 2017 tax cuts for billionaires and corporations, which raised taxes on the rest of us. Why do you praise this man? Meanwhile, let's look at the contrast. Joe Biden inherited the COVID crisis from Donald Trump, which nearly drove us into a recession. With key pieces of legislation, Joe Biden slowly rebuilt the economy to where we now have the strongest economy in the G7 compared to every other country that went through the COVID crisis. Donald Trump also left office with fewer jobs than he started with, and Joe Biden had record back-to-back job reports that even Fox News had to praise. Before the 2020 election, Trump kept saying that if Biden wins, the stock market will crash. Instead, during Biden's presidency, the stock market has hit record highs multiple times. Also, while dodging that potential recession, Joe Biden increased our GDP to higher than it was under Trump, who inherited a great GDP and an economy from Obama, which he slowly tanked. He had constant trade wars and tariffs his first time around, which raised our prices and harmed our economy. And now he's doing it all over again. And while Biden, 2 years into his presidency, passed an infrastructure law that funded over 40,000 projects across the country, Donald Trump constantly kept promising his infrastructure bill was coming in 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks during his presidency, we have one coming in 2 weeks, and he never had an infrastructure bill. And now, despite him not even being in office, Donald Trump is taking credit for the ceasefire agreement that Joe Biden, Qatar, and Egypt came up with. And it was all started by a ceasefire proposal that Biden made months ago. But Donald Trump, a man who's not even in office, is taking credit for it, when several months before the election, he himself contacted Netanyahu, which was illegal, and told him not to agree to any ceasefire until after he wins the election. Yet now somehow, he and his followers are taking credit for it, even though he's not the one in office and had absolutely nothing to do with it. And on the campaign trail, Donald Trump kept claiming that he was going to have no wars. Now he's currently threatening multiple countries, from Canada to Greenland to Denmark to Mexico. How is it that MAGA thinks we are respected around the world under Donald Trump? The rest of the world hates him. In fact, about a week ago, Donald Trump made a turd social post where he claimed that he's hearing the people in Greenland are MAGA and they really want to be taken by the United States. So Fox News sent a correspondent over there to talk to the people, and it did not go as they planned. All of the people they spoke to, save for apparently one guy decked out in MAGA gear, said the same thing. They all made fun of Donald Trump, thought the idea of him wanting Greenland was ridiculous, called it offensive, and said they preferred to stay with Denmark. Then again, it's already been discovered that when Donald Trump Jr. made his trip to Greenland, he bribed people on the street with a free lunch in order to pretend they were MAGA supporters. Again, this is something that people like myself and others have been trying for years to inform the MAGA about. That Donald Trump is nothing but a self-serving, narcissistic con man, who is really only running for president to enrich himself and to stay out of prison. He's even admitted multiple times that he hates his own followers. According to one of his former aides, he called his followers basement dwellers. A producer at Fox News called Donald Trump's cult cousin fucking terrorists. And on several occasions, Donald Trump has even called his own supporters disgusting. He doesn't want to shake their hands. He wants to be nowhere near them. Much like he said in Las Vegas at that rally, he doesn't care about you. He just wanted your vote. Something that was recently echoed by white supremacist and Yahtzee Nick Fuentes, who said, "Thank you for your vote, now go F yourself." That's the message from the Republican Party for the next 4, 8, 16, 100,000 years. Thank you for your vote, now go F off until the next election. They openly admit that they hate their own followers. And again, we tried warning them about all of this. That is what my We Told You series is about. For years, we had to listen to dumb conspiracy theories about the election of 2020 being stolen with absolutely no evidence. We had to hear about a secret cabal that was being held under a pizza parlor. We had to hear that Donald Trump was going to get reinstated as president every 2 weeks. We had to hear that the economy was going to crash and we were going to turn into a communist country, which never happened. But so far, everything we have tried to tell you over here on the left has come true, including the fact that Donald Trump is friends with Vladimir Putin and wants an authoritarian dictatorship. He even admitted it. For at least the next 4 years until we get out of this hellscape, you have to listen to us now. You have to listen to us actually tell you what's happening, and it happens. Instead of us listening to you guys for 4 years ramble on in your tinfoil hat about Jewish space lasers and a transgender agenda. You've all gone fucking crazy. And we are here to point it out every step of the way. Because remember, Howard Stern said it best.
The oddity in all of this is the people Trump despises most love him the most.
This has been We Told You So. Please try to learn something from it.